Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. A silhouette engulfed in fire walked slowly out of the Sky Wolf Palace. Give me the details, the master of Sky Wolf said, looking down at the snake-shaped creature. I bring news, said the snake. I'm here to tell you first that important information is about to be sent to you. Go, the master of Sky Wolf said. Yes. The snake flew out of the Sky Wolf Palace and teleported itself. The master of Sky Wolf stood in front of the palace and received the information from the virtual universe. Although the telecommunication system owned by the demon race couldn't compare to the human race or automaton race, they had built a basic system by plundering parts from others. Besides, creatures who were masters of the universe could easily obtain information from hundreds of millions of light-years away, without any need to access the virtual universe. Among the stars appeared a three-dimensional virtual projection. The master of Sky Wolf looked at it from afar, watching the confrontation between Luo Feng and Bei Shan Knight in the Land of Valuables. It's him, the master of Sky Wolf murmured. I can tell by his eyes. He had seen Luo Feng before. The speculations made by other super beings of the other races were questionable, but the master of Sky Wolf was powerful enough to distinguish between the real thing and a forgery. The eyes were the window to the soul, and he could recognize that meddlesome human by those eyes. I can't believe he went to the ancestral god school. It was a smart move, indeed, but I'm a bit surprised the humans are unable to protect him within their race. I'm sure he'll stay in the ancestral god school for a long time. The worm race and the automaton race might also receive the information. They might even act first. It's going to cost them dearly if they want to kill Blade River Emperor within the domain of the ancestral god school. I'll let them do it first. The eyes of the master of Sky Wolf gleamed as he pondered how to dispose of this individual, this man who possessed the potential to be a great being of the human race. The master of Sky Wolf had seen Luo Feng before, and he was sure that the talented human could become an undying. However, it would be exceedingly difficult for him to become a universe knight. It was difficult for anyone to become a universe knight. Like Truyang Emperor, who had been stuck at the last step for an age. Or like Cha Man Emperor, who was every bit as talented as Seven Blade Emperor, but couldn't break through even after hundreds of thousands of years of training. And like Zhu Chong Emperor, who was a special life form in the universe, even more powerful than some bona fide universe knights. However, he still couldn't become a universe knight, even with all the resources provided by the ancestral god school. Mountain Sitting Guest had once said that rare resources could help the undying make their breakthroughs and become universe knights, but it was a huge price, and success was not guaranteed. Blade River Emperor was indeed impressive. However, he was still outshone by a special life form like Zhu Chong Emperor. He must have lots of secrets, thought the master of Sky Wolf. That's how he killed an emperor limit as a mere sector lord. If he becomes a universe knight, especially a high-level one, he will rival a universe master. Perhaps he will become another Heaven Erosion Palace leader, or maybe even stronger than that. He will pose a greater threat than a universe master by then. To the enemy races, the idea of universe knights wielding the power of universe masters was, indeed, more intimidating than actual universe masters, as no one could resurrect a dead universe master. However, although universe masters like the Chaos City leader couldn't bring back a universe knight as powerful as the Heaven Erosion Palace leader, the strongest ones of the universe, such as the founder of the huge Axe Dojo, could certainly do that. A supreme being that could be resurrected at any time. What a threat that was. There's a huge hurdle between an undying and a universe knight, said the master of Sky Wolf. If Blade River Emperor can't cross the hurdle, but the human race still tries to help him regardless, they might pay a huge price without any reward. Although the master of Sky Wolf was worried about the surge in power of Blade River Emperor, this human was far from a real threat at the moment. I'll wait and see if the worm race, or the automaton race make the first move. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The worm race and the automaton race received the message on the same day. 4 of the peak races in the universe, humans, automatons, worms, and demons, had territories close to each other, and the wars between them could be bitter and devastating. They would surely try to eliminate any peerless talent as soon as possible. The automaton race reasoned, the demons and worms might get to him first. There's no need to rush. Meanwhile, the worms debated, the humans must have a plan to protect Blade River Emperor now, and we need to arrange any attack carefully. The 3 peak races were the only ones concerned. The other powers that could rival the Hong Alliance were all on the fence. As for the weaker ones like the 9 Territory Alliance, they would love to see the 4 peak races destroy each other in battle. Asterisk 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 asterisk. On the open-air square in the world of glory, Luo Feng quickly became friends with many powerful beings. The Hong Alliance really doesn't have many heirs. Luo Feng couldn't help saying. Indeed, Li Emperor said with a nod, sitting beside Luo Feng. But this is only a quarter of us. We humans are rare only because the ancestral god school distributed their tokens indiscriminately among the races, rendering us at a disadvantage. Besides, the Hong Alliance wants only elites, and those within the alliance are either powerful races or subsidiaries thereof. Luo Feng nodded. There were several powerful barbarian races within the Hong Alliance, and they all consisted of universe masters. We don't have lots of members in the Hong Alliance, and that's why we don't get lots of heirs, Li Emperor said. The beast god inheritance is only one of the many ways to become stronger, said Cha Man Emperor, shaking his head. Humans are relatively weak within the ancestral god school. Li Emperor and Cha Man Emperor were both humans, and the halos on their heads were gone. What's most frustrating is that it's so difficult for us to earn glory points, Cha Man Emperor said, shaking his head a second time. We humans have the virtual universe, which is envied by countless other races, especially in the world of glory. Lots of barbarians won't even challenge us, or accept our challenges. You can't earn glory points without enough battles. Thus, we don't have the opportunities to receive the inheritance. Li Emperor brought his wine glass up and said, we can only challenge others in the Hong Alliance. Few within our alliance share the same level of inheritance, however, and we all know each other pretty well, so we don't challenge those who can beat us. Challenge? Luo Feng said, tilting his head. He had read the rules in the Black Book, and knew that the world of glory was divided between the open-air square and the world of battle. Glory points could be gained and lost in the world of battle. Each newcomer would have 3 glory points, and the smallest price to pay for each battle was 1. An heir had to send a letter of invitation to battle first, then wait until for an affirmative response before he could engage in a fight. 100 glory points could be exchanged for 1 inheritance. Can you imagine how difficult it is to get 100 glory points without any challenges? Cha Man Emperor said with a sigh. Occasionally, there are some who challenge us, but they're ultra-powerful. If we answer to that, either we're at least at the same level, or we're just being stupid. It is so difficult to earn glory points, Li Emperor agreed. Thousand Rain Emperor stood to the side, smiling as he said, compared to you humans, I'm lucky as I'm not so isolated. However, you can earn glory points only if you win a battle. Otherwise, you'll lose points. If you lose all your glory points, you have to wait for an era to get a new one. If you lose all of them 3 times, you have to wait for 10,000 eras for another chance. And if you lose them 6 times, you have to wait for 100,000 eras. So on and so forth. That's why everyone is very careful, and will only make a large bet if they are certain they can win. Normally, the wager is only for 1 glory point per battle, but larger bets will happen under only extreme cases. Thousand Rain Emperor shook his head and added, although there are innumerable heirs here, it's almost impossible to get an extra inheritance through glory points. Don't gloat, Cha Man Emperor said. At least you get challenged. Not very often, Thousand Rain Emperor replied. And most of them are stronger than me. Luo Feng quietly considered how difficult it was to exchange an inheritance with glory points. Just then, many heirs of the other races began to notice Blade River Emperor's arrival, or, more specifically, the arrival of Blade River. On the Black Book of the World of Glory, an arrival time and name, along with a note, always appeared when a newcomer arrived. Someone glanced at their book, saying, "It says here Blade River is here." And it reads human for the note. It must be Blade River Emperor. Then that means he is here now. The barbarians all looked from afar. It's impossible for a sector lord to kill an emperor limit only with the law comprehension, someone said. He must possess invaluable treasures. However, in the world of glory, everyone has the same intensity of godly bodies. Even Zhu Chong Emperor has the same constitution as we do. And we must use the weapons provided by the world of glory. Even Zhu Chong Emperor was defeated many times in the world of glory. This Blade River Emperor, a third-level heir. I'll invite him to a battle, someone spoke up. I'll do that too, another cried out. It'll be interesting to bully and humiliate this legendary Blade River Emperor. I'll crush Blade River Emperor. I'll make him miserable. All at once, a plethora of talented heirs from every race were sending battle invitations to Blade River. As Luo Feng continued chatting with Thousand Rain Emperor, Cha Man Emperor, and Li Li Emperor, he felt the trembling of his floating black book. "Hold on," he said as he opened it up. His eyes went wide. The number 10,232 filled the blank beside the invitations to battle line in the book, and the number was soaring. Now 12,000. 13,000, 14,000. Now 20,000. And still rising rapidly. Luo Feng was just listening to Cha Man Emperor and Li Li Emperor complain about how difficult it was to acquire challenges. However, in the blink of an eye, the invitations to battle sent to him had already skyrocketed. After only a few seconds, it reached 30,000. This is unbelievable, said Luo Feng, his heart pounding at sight of the number. I hadn't received any invitations to battle last time I checked the Black Book. It happened so fast. Luo Feng had entered the world of glory just now and had given himself the name Blade River. Before that, even if other races had wanted to challenge Blade River Emperor, they couldn't find the target. But now, Luo Feng appeared in the open-air square, and almost all the heirs knew about it. As expected, many of them wanted to battle the legendary Blade River Emperor. Besides, Luo Feng was one of the third-level beast god heirs, and out of all 7 levels, the third level contained the most heirs. More than 100 million heirs were at the third level. There were only a few universe knights, whereas hundreds of millions of the heirs were emperors. Almost all of the talented fighters, who went through hundreds of millions of years of training, reached the third level. A considerable number of them had completed the third level and started to comprehend the fourth level, like Truyang Emperor. Accordingly, the largest portion of the heirs belonged to the third level, followed by the fourth level. The rest, in descending order, were the second level, the fifth level, the sixth level, the seventh level, and the first level. The Heaven Erosion Palace leader represented the seventh level heirs, who were almost as powerful as beast gods. As strong as they were, only a few dozen reached the seventh level. As for the first level, even the newcomers had some foundation, so there was no one at the first level. Thousand Rain Emperor, Li Li Emperor, and Cha Man Emperor all noticed that Luo Feng was staring at the Black Book. "What are you looking at?" Thousand Rain Emperor shouted. Luo Feng looked at his 3 friends from the Hong Alliance, knowing he didn't need to hide the news that so many other races were challenging him. He whispered, "I've received tons of invitations to battle." "Tons of invitations," they said. All of them were dazed. "How many have you received?" asked Li Li Emperor. 100. Realizing something was wrong, he shook his head. "Blade River, you're too famous. You can kill a limit emperor as a sector lord. The heirs here are from hundreds of millions of races throughout the universe. They won't rest until they fight you in a battle, and many of them want to grasp this opportunity to crush you." I bet you can receive lots of invitations. Perhaps thousands. Both Cha Man Emperor and Thousand Rain Emperor looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng blocked the space around them to ensure that only they could hear him as he murmured, more than 50,000 already. 50,000. Li Emperor said, opening his eyes wide. 50,000. Cha Man Emperor sighed. He had spent an eternity on Bohinia Island, and he hadn't even taken part in 1,000 battles. It's been such a short time, Thousand Rain Emperor said, dazed. Cha Man Emperor was a bit let down. It seems, he said, that I've underestimated how much those other races want to fight you. You're just too famous, and you're only a sector lord. Lots of the treasures and true treasures were absent in the world of glory. You'll be at a disadvantage when you're fighting them. Not only do they want to fight you, they want to crush you. They think they are superior to you. Luo Feng glanced at the black book. He had already received more than 60,000 invitations. There were, indeed, lots of great beings from other races who wanted to fight him. Blade River Emperor, you're one of the third-level heirs, Thousand Rain Emperor said. Third-level heirs and fourth-level heirs make up more than 99% of all the heirs here. And there are more than 90 million third-level heirs. You'll receive 900,000 invitations to battle even if only 1% of them challenge you. Luo Feng nodded his head. You need to be careful, Thousand Rain Emperor continued. Don't accept invitations without consideration. All the heirs use the same godly bodies during the battles in the world of glory, and they are all 100,000 times stronger than the body of a sector lord. You can choose your own look and body type, but your constitution is the same. And you have to choose from weapons within the world of glory, which are all ordinary weapons. The playing field is kept even. All the treasures you obtained outside and all the special skills you happen to have will disappear. When you're in battle, you can only use fusion laws. All other laws are useless in the world of glory. Only fusion laws can generate power. Luo Feng nodded, listening carefully. For example, Thousand Rain Emperor continued, Zhuchong Emperor is a special organism, unique in the universe. But in the world of glory, he doesn't have the incredible godly body, the extraordinary techniques, or the true treasures. Thus, he becomes ordinary. He's only at the upper middle tier of the third-level heirs, and he will drop to one of the lower middle ones when he becomes a fourth-level heir. Yes, Cha Man Emperor said with a frown. Besides, Sector Lord's mind powers can't compare to that of an undying fighter. You'll be at a disadvantage. Blade River Emperor, Li Emperor said, the powerful fighters are all peerless in their races. Quite a few have come up with their own pinnacle techniques, and several of them even came up with ultimate techniques. As for law comprehension, there are some at the third level that almost complete it. When it comes to body amplification, all of them have their own techniques, and their willpower is top tier. Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. Ultimate techniques. The Primal Chaos City leader praised him after he created his own pinnacle techniques. In a place like Bohinia Island, where hundreds of millions of peerless talented fighters lived, it was unsurprising that lots of them had created their own pinnacle techniques. However, Luo Feng was amazed that several had created ultimate techniques even though they had only completed the first few moves. The Ancestral God School gathers talented fighters from all the races in the universe, thought Luo Feng. They have various talents and various life forms. Some have incredible godly bodies, and some of them have extraordinary techniques. It's conceivable that a few of them could come up with ultimate techniques. You have to think twice before you accept challenges, as a commitment is binding, Cha Man Emperor said. They'll only be nullified after you lose all your glory points, so you need to be careful. Luo Feng said, nodding. Suddenly, several voices arose from afar. Blade River Emperor, shouted a voice. I, Taijing Emperor of the Demon Race, challenge you. Do you dare to accept it? Blade River Emperor, you can name your bet, another voice cried out. But apparently, you only have 3 glory points, so I'll bet you 3 glory points. Do you have the guts to do so? I highly doubt that Blade River Emperor is that powerful, another jeered. Perhaps he got famous because he was lucky. More voices flooded the area. All spoke in human languages. Some were high and some were low. Some were squeaky, Some were like thunder, and some were hoarse and echoing. All the other races were provoking him. Yes, provoking him. They were all peerless talents within their own races, especially in the world of battle, where all the special effects were void. How could they possibly admit to the power of a sector lord? Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Do you think Blade River Emperor will accept the challenges? Asked a lanky powerful one with 9 leaves on its head. He stood with several others, all of whom were green and black with leaves on their heads. Their skin resembled bark. They were of the Fan Ling clan, and had no genders. All were descendants of the Fan Ling tree. Maybe he will, at first, another replied. However, he'll realize the powers of the other races after losing once or twice. There are many challenging him this time, and we might not have the chance to fight him. He has only 3 glory points, and he'll lose all of them in no time. He won't be able to fight after losing them all. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Luo Feng did, indeed, want to accept the challenges from the talented fighters of other races. However, he was still rational. He knew he shouldn't underestimate them. They were not just some ordinary powerful fighters from the outer domain battlefield. Many of them had created their own pinnacle techniques, not to mention those who had created ultimate techniques. The numbers still increasing, said Luo Feng, looking at his black book. It had already hit 100,000. Cha Man Emperor. Yes, Blade River. Cha Man Emperor said, looking at him. I've got an idea, said Luo Feng. You give me the number of the virtual universe. I'll leave the world of glory and enter the virtual universe to then connect you. Let's have a mock fight in the virtual universe. How does that sound? Cha Man Emperor's eyes gleamed. Good. Clever, Li Emperor said with a smile. You'll have a mock fight in the virtual universe first, so you can determine how powerful you actually are compared to other third-level heirs. After that, you'll know who to choose to fight. Cha Man Emperor and I are both upper middle tier of the third-level heirs. I'll join, too. You can easily learn how powerful you are, relatively speaking, by fighting us. Count me in, Thousand Rain Emperor said. I'm from the Hong Alliance and have the number of the virtual universe, too. Ha ha. Thank you all, Luo Feng said. Luo Feng had a strong desire to fight, after receiving so many challenges. How could he possibly let it go? He didn't know when or if he would receive so many invitation letters again. After being given the number of the virtual universe, Luo Feng's mind left the world of glory and connected to the virtual universe. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Inside one of the practice fields in the virtual universe, a range of rocky cordilleras ran along the practice field. Luo Feng stood on one of the mountains while Thousand Rain Emperor, Li Emperor, and Cha Man Emperor stood across from him. Blade River, said Cha Man Emperor. Let's at least make it a good fight. Their battle senses burned brightly, like Seven Blade Emperor and Meng Sui Emperor before, having been silent for a long time. But in terms of power, these fighters were stronger. Who would like to start? Luo Feng asked, looking at the 3 strong beings in the distance. I am slightly weaker than Cha Man Emperor and Li Emperor, said Thousand Rain Emperor. How about I take the first shot? Blade River Emperor, if you fight them first, you might lose pretty badly. Both Cha Man Emperor and Li Emperor looked at Luo Feng, waiting for him to choose. If you want to fight, bring in the strongest one, Luo Feng said bluntly. Fair enough, said Thousand Rain Emperor. Cha Man Emperor and Li Emperor looked at each other. And then, the world was filled with Cha Man Emperor's eerie voice. Li Emperor and I are basically on the same level, he said. I can fight first. However, Blade River, do not underestimate us just because we are low-keyed. There are only 2 to 3 beast god-level emperors among humans who are stronger than us. Newcomers like Seven Blade Emperor are weaker than us. I surely won't underestimate you, said Luo Feng. He knew very well that among humans, many of the older guys maintained low profiles. Although these guys had probably been stuck in the last step for an eternity, some of them possessed intimidating, tremendous strength. On the contrary, rising newcomers like Seven Blade Emperor and Dream Fire Emperor may have been enjoying great fame, but if they couldn't even break through 100 million eras, they would fade to obscurity in future generations. That was simply the cruel nature of time. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In mid-air, Luo Feng and Cha Man Emperor faced each other across a distance. Familiarize yourself with your godly body, said Cha Man Emperor. Let me remind you that we will be fighting in the virtual world. Hence, as soon as the fight begins, we will both burn our godly bodies and fight frantically. Do not be as reluctant to burn your godly body as you are in reality, said Luo Feng, feeling his own virtual godly body. Boom. With vigorous power filling his body, his every cell comprised of unparalleled godly force, Luo Feng could, if he were willing, turn into an inexhaustible godly force in an instant. Even when his godly body was shattered to pieces, he could recover in the blink of an eye. His confidence in his own dominance and absolute control was much stronger than when he had been a sector lord. This was a godly body 100,000 times stronger than that of a sector lord. There are pros and cons, Luo Feng said, acclimating to this godly body. In real life, even with the assistance of the general soul, my spiritual force is only on the low emperor level. Thanks to my willpower, which is more domineering than most of the universe knights, I can ultimately rival pinnacle emperors. But right now, even without the general soul, I have reached the pinnacle emperor realm with virtual godly force. Coupled with my willpower and consciousness, I will naturally grow stronger. During his sector lord period, the primal force had combined with the spiritual force, becoming the strength of a world. During his undying period, they became an undying force. Now, with the virtualized undying godly force, he could strike a soul attack. Previously, in the real world, Luo Feng muttered, my strength of a world was too weak. My soul was nothing compared to the general soul, even after my soul amplification using the techniques that I inherited from Demon Note God General. But now, my virtualized godly force is amplifying completely once again. From the aspects of godly force and amplification, Luo Feng had, indeed, improved a lot. But there was a weakness. The supreme treasure, the star map, was gone. The power of the star map could have helped Luo Feng skip 2, or even 3 levels. Weapon. As he turned his palms over, 600 semi-transparent golden globes filled with mysterious engravings, which were the interpretations of Luo Feng's mightiest techniques, started to float above his hands. These were very common spiritual weapons Luo Feng made through the virtual universe. After all, only common weapons could be used during battles in the world of glory. Have you gotten used to it? Said Cha Man Emperor. Luo Feng laughed. Cha Man Emperor, he said, you'll have to exert your greatest effort to avoid a humiliating defeat. With a booming sound, Luo Feng's breath intensified. His every cell started to burn completely, and his strength became 1,000 times stronger in a split second. How long have you been cultivating? Asked Cha Man Emperor. A little friendly advice. Don't mess around with us old tough guys. I will defeat you within 3 moves. Abruptly, 2 giant, blade-shaped claws appeared, covering Cha Man Emperor's fists. Buzz. The 600 golden globes floated as Luo Feng turned his hands over. Spirit Reader, said Cha Man Emperor. He frowned slightly, looking at Luo Feng in confusion. Before heading to the land of inheritance, Spirit Readers should have been told by the members within their races that they would be at a disadvantage if they were to take the Beast God path. Why was Blade River Emperor still a Spirit Reader? Luo Feng tossed the globes randomly. Through the intricate patterns on the 600 golden globes, the burning virtualized godly force activated the law of merging ultimate sources. Suddenly, an enormous beast god appeared high in the air. Since this move was unleashed by burning godly force, this beast god was more real, so much so that its scaled tail had infinitely formidable power. Humph! Cha Man Emperor snorted deeply. Boom! Man Emperor transformed swiftly into a human-shaped beast god with thick shoulders covered in scale armor. Behind him, a giant, semi-visible beast god shadow also emerged. His eyes were fraught with madness. This powerful human being, quite genteel a moment before, had suddenly become insanely barbaric. Man Emperor became a beam of light and pounced at Luo Feng. ***********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************e Blade River Emperor is indeed impressive, said Thousand Rain Emperor, pleasantly surprised. Though he is in a slightly unfavorable position, he has gotten used to Man Emperor's fighting style in no time. They are running neck and neck. Hold on, Li Emperor said in a soft voice. Man Emperor thinks that Blade River Emperor is weak in techniques due to his short cultivation time. That's why Man Emperor didn't use his most powerful secret technique from the start. Look, Blade River Emperor is losing out, isn't he? Humph. Now that their godly bodies are on the same level, it is the comprehension of laws, secret techniques, godly force amplification, experience, etc., that are at stake. Man Emperor is perfect in those aspects. His secret technique is a pinnacle technique, and his godly force amplification is inherited from the demon note god general. Pinnacle techniques were not uncommon. Almost every universe knight could create pinnacle techniques. So those remarkable geniuses, who had the potential to become universe knights, would certainly put stricter demands on themselves. Particularly in the event that they couldn't break through the endless ages, those geniuses would put greater emphasis on the creation of pinnacle techniques. Under the instruction of good teachers, many talents from peak races had created pinnacle techniques over an extended time. Luo Feng had complemented simply, because it had cost him a short time to invent his pinnacle techniques. It is not bad for Blade River Emperor to be on a par with Man Emperor, who is. Li Emperor trailed off, stunned. What? Thousand Rain Emperor was also stupefied. Blade River Emperor, he. But he couldn't even finish his sentence. To their surprise, Blade River Emperor's energy suddenly burst. Previously, the two opponents had been equally matched. But now, Blade River Emperor's strength seemed to surge, suppressing Man Emperor immediately. In the air. With his gaze burning crazily, Luo Feng maximized his willpower in an instant. You shall lose, he said. Boom. With a rumbling sound that trembled the surrounding space, the scale tail of the giant beast god pushed through time and space like a steamroller. The thrashing of the scale tail was terrifyingly fast and ferocious. Bang. Roaring, the human-shaped beast god of Man Emperor resisted the whipping of the scaled tail with his two claws. Bang. He was beaten so hard that his godly body deteriorated rapidly. Admit your defeat, demanded Luo Feng. Gaining momentum, Luo Feng attacked Man Emperor repeatedly until the godly body of Man Emperor vanished entirely. Luo Feng had won. Standing in mid-air, Luo Feng gazed at the dumbfounded Thousand Rain Emperor and Li Emperor in the distance. In astonishment, he muttered to himself, I can't believe that I am pushed to this extent to exert my own pinnacle techniques. Compared to them, I still have the advantage of the beast god conception. While other heirs were arousing their pinnacle techniques using law comprehension, Luo Feng stimulated his by beast god conception. In terms of the comprehension of the combination law, Luo Feng belonged to the intermediate level of the third stage, but his beast god conception had already surpassed the third stage, reaching the threshold of the fourth stage. After all, Luo Feng's current beast god conception was incredibly close to the 21st level of Heavenly Bridge. Therefore, Luo Feng had great advantages with his beast god conception. Besides, Luo Feng's spiritual force amplification was also very strong and couldn't be considered a shortcoming. Still, Luo Feng couldn't help but sigh. At the beginning of the battle, before his willpower broke out completely, he had been at a slight disadvantage. In the end, his willpower, which was more incredible than most universe knights, had burst. If he were just a fighter, the benefits of strong willpower wouldn't have been obvious, but things were different for a spirit reader. Willpower was the commander-in-chief. Consciousness was the general. And spirit force was the soldier. The might of Luo Feng's willpower made his ability to control his spiritual weapon upgrade 2 levels, turning his unfavorable position into complete suppression over Cha Man Emperor. Cha Man Emperor flew over, looking at Luo Feng incredulously. I have lost. Blade River, how did you? I admit defeat, too, said Li Emperor. There's no need to compete. Li Emperor sighed, shaking his head. Blade River, you truly live up to your fame. We are convinced by your treasures as well as your strength. They both felt rather bitter. As low profile as they were quite confident in their strengths, for they ranked on the middle upper level in the land of inheritance, a place with numerous talents. It was obviously very difficult to improve once they had reached certain levels. In the aspects of willpower, consciousness, secret techniques, and godly force amplification, they had nearly achieved perfection. Yet they had still lost. Luo Feng had won in a landslide. It was only through the simultaneous outburst of 2 absolute advantages, my willpower and my beast god conception, that I could overwhelm Cha Man Emperor, Luo Feng thought to himself. Asterisk 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 asterisk. On the distant Bohinia Island, the core land of the ancestral god school, the heirs who had sent Luo Feng invitations to fight were discussing this matter in small groups. They soon received their replies. Blade River Emperor is just a sector lord, after all, said one heir. In the virtual world, he must abandon every treasure he owns in the real world and rely on his actual strength to fight. Humph. Zhuchong Emperor also yielded before, didn't he? It is estimated that hundreds of thousands of challenges to fight have been sent to him, replied another. How many does he dare accept? Ha ha. Well, he has accepted mine. What? He accepted. Lucky you. Perhaps he chooses the weakest ones to battle. Ha ha. But alas. He has also accepted mine. I have also gotten his response. He has agreed to fight. On the open-air square of the World of Glory, numerous strong beings of other races were flipping through their black books. Every one of them had received replies accepting their challenges. My challenge has been accepted, they said to one another. So has mine. Blade River Emperor has agreed to battle. Soon, frantic discussions were heard in every corner of the open-air square. The heirs of hundreds of millions of races of the universe were left in great astonishment. How many challenges has Blade River Emperor accepted? Probably tens of thousands. Numerous colorful aurora surrounded Bohinia Island, and the halos, displaying the mysteries of universe lore, constantly diffused up in the sky. Bohinia Island was home to palaces of diverse races. In one of the palaces were plenty sculptures of ancient swords. Suddenly, the gate to this palace opened. Out walked a figure. With eyes as sharp as blades and a mark of 7 battle swords between his eyebrows, this man, dressed in purple armor, looked like a battle sword himself. Shouted 2 chimpanzee-like beings from another race shouted at the figure from afar. 7 Blade Emperor. Blade River Emperor from the human race is quite something. 7 Blade Emperor, did you invite him to fight? 7 Blade Emperor had gained a treasure from the land of valuables, and as a result had become moderately famous on Bohinia Island. Furthermore, the treasure had been found at a spot reserved by a super being of the ancestral god school for its inheritors. Mediocre as 7 Blade Emperor might have been in the battles in the World of Glory, he could be very intimidating with his 7 Blade inheritance, beast god great being inheritance, and formidable ability to survive in the real world. His good luck even invoked jealousy from numerous great beings among the human race. Thanks to the 7 Blade inheritance, 7 Blade Emperor and Dream Fire Emperor had become 2 undying level talents of their generations to be trained intensively by the human race. The beast god great being inheritance had made 7 Blade Emperor's status surpass that of Dream Fire Emperor among the human race. However, many races had no idea what the treasure was, since 7 Blade Emperor had kept the secret to himself. Even the automaton race, a peak race, only knew that he had gained some sort of inheritance. The land of valuables had numerous treasures left by the beast gods of the ancestral god school, including school-guarding beast gods, and beast god cultivating great beings. As for what the treasure was, it was difficult to tell. The treasure was not necessarily related to the beast god path. For example, if Luo Feng reached a high status in the future, he could also put some of the treasures he had acquired by chance, and didn't use, in the land of valuables for future generations. Therefore, apart from Seven-Blade Emperor and the senior staff of the human race at the ancestral god school, none of the other factions knew the extent of how amazing Seven-Blade Emperor's actual gains would be. Otherwise, no one would have tried to assassinate him. Seven-Blade Emperor laughed with blade light flashing in his eyes. Ha ha. He is also a human. Now that so many great beings of other races have challenged him, why would I invite him to fight? By the way, do you know how many challenges Blade River Emperor has accepted? If you don't know, what makes you think we would? All we know is the number is over 10,000. Then the two chimp-like beings each took a step greater than 600 miles and disappeared in the distance. Standing in front of the palace, Seven-Blade Emperor murmured to himself, over 10,000 battles. Blade River Emperor, the most incredible talent of the human race. I will never admit defeat to Blade River Emperor so easily. Having acquired his new treasure, Seven-Blade Emperor believed that he had outclassed Dreamfire Emperor, thus becoming the best of his generation among humans. But now, Blade River Emperor was in his way. During the fight for Sealed Star in the battlefield of the outer regions, you were so insignificant that I barely noticed you, said Seven-Blade Emperor. What a surprise that you are a sector lord. I know that you are madly accepting challenges to fight. For the first time, you have my full attention. I want to see your strength, for you are such a talent of the human race that even my teacher believes you are better than me. I don't know if you are overly confident, or just insane to agree to engage in over 10,000 battles. Soon, you will realize that all the heirs here are peerless talents. Even I am only considered mediocre in the world of glory. You will soon come around to this cruel reality. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the heartland of the ancestral god school, the Thunder Beast God Palace was one of the 8 palaces for beast gods. The palace was magnificent in appearance, standing taller than 60 million miles. Inside the palace was a time-space containing picturesque scenery including rivers, mountains, deserts, ice fields, and snow. Deep inside those endless ranges of mountains, a repetitive sound erupted like breathing. The diameter of the time-space exceeded a light year, and every ha filled it with pounding thunderbolts. And every hu filled it with roaring winds, destroying numerous mountains, drying up lakes and rivers, and swirling up sand from the deserts. Luckily, there were no other creatures in the whole time-space. Who dares interrupt my slumber? Echoed a rumbling voice. Several peaks of those endless mountains were pushed upward. A gigantic, winged, 3-hoofed beast god covered in green hair longer than 50,000 miles, stood up. With every step it took, the earth shook and mountains collapsed. Why does the ancestral god make me manage the trivialities of the school? It growled. The other 7 beast gods have slacked off and gone elsewhere, while I am the only one who has had to stay here for 100 million eras. Alas! How long have I slept? Only 30 million eras. I can leave only after staying for 70 million more eras. The time-space trembled as the hairy, giant beast god stepped forward. Come on in. Thunder Beast God finally spoke up. The time-space of the Beast God Palace opened, and the God General that had been waiting outside entered the palace. Greetings, Beast God, said a voice. I am Blood Fire God General. Blood Fire God General flew across the sky and landed on the peak of a mountain, looking at the Beast God, which was much bigger than mountains, from afar. I told you not to disturb my sleep unless there was something truly important, said Thunder Beast God, and the airflow that spurted from his nostrils wiped out the surrounding mountains. In the sky, more thunderbolts generated out of nowhere, as if expressing the fury of Thunder Beast God. Blood Fire God General saluted the Thunder Beast God and said, Beast God, this is an important matter. The operating system of Ancestral God School left the Blood Fire God General with no choice but to solve many problems himself. The beast gods were so lazy that they didn't even bother to connect their consciousnesses to the world of glory. Apparently, sharing their consciousnesses irritated the beast gods. "Speak," Thunder Beast God demanded, looking down on the tiny Blood Fire God General. Having inherited the position of a God General, Blood Fire God General wielded strength that could rival common universe masters. As for Thunder Beast God, once it had inherited the supreme status of a beast god, its strength would become even greater. "We have found a universe talent worthy of being trained by Ancestral God School," said Blood Fire God General. "A universe talent? You woke me up just for this." Thunderbolts flashed in Thunder Beast God's eyes. "He is only a sector lord, yet he can attack and kill an emperor limit," said Blood Fire God General. Said Thunder Beast God. "A powerful special organism." Thunder Beast God's eyes lit up. The Ancestral God School needed to cultivate great beings as well. For example, great emphasis was put on Zhuchong Emperor for his cultivation. Once the Ancestral God School appreciated the great beings, things would turn out differently for them. But the issue was, the Ancestral God School was extremely picky. It didn't even care about the so-called peerless talents of the universe like Kudai. "No, he is a human," said Blood Fire God General, "but he was capable of killing an emperor limit even during his sector lord period, even hitting and killing from the front." Since he took the place of beast gods in managing Ancestral God School, Blood Fire God General had extensive secret knowledge. When it came to the law of how the universe worked, the Ancestral God School undoubtedly held the most profound understanding. "Kill from the front. This is against the law of the universe," said Thunder Beast God in a rumbling voice. With some extremely powerful treasures, it would be possible for a sector lord to kill emperors at the limit level by waging sneak attacks. But from the front, great beings of emperor limit level would defeat sector lords easily with their soul attacks and godly force attacks. According to the intelligence from the Ancestral God School, when he was in Ice Hell, he could conceal his breathing with an invaluable treasure, thus enabling him to fight with Emperor Limit, continued Blood Fire God General. And he could withstand soul attacks and substance attacks. His strength can even kill emperors at the limit level. There was light in Thunder Beast God's enormous eyes. He has received special treatment, enabling him to violate the laws of the universe in some respects without being suppressed by the law. Thunder Beast God knew very well what this meant. The universe was fair. Strength-enhancing armor such as general armor and king armor placed a great burden on one's body. For instance, only a body that was 10,000 times stronger than a sector lord force could put on the king armor. Even the golden horned beast could only wear it after cultivating the 9-volume manual. Hence, without the incredible 9-volume manual, it would be impossible to use general armor, king armor, general soul, and the like. Without these items, Luo Feng, as a sector lord, was just a common peerless talent who could, at best, rival Kudai, but couldn't kill an emperor limit. Violating the universe operation law without being suppressed by it, said Thunder Beast God in a rumbling voice. From now on, I will pay close attention to him. Thunder Beast God, said Blood Fire God General. Because he has killed emperors at the limit level as a sector lord, he enjoys great fame in the universe. But he is a human, after all. What he has achieved is quite stunning, though no other factions understand the implications yet, except the Ancestral God School. Ever since he arrived in Land of Inheritance, many heirs have invited him to fight. Just now, this human accepted all the challenges. All of them. Thunder Beast God was stupefied. Yes. All of them. Over 620,000 battles. 620,000 battles, said Thunder Beast God. What's his name? Blade River Emperor, said Blood Fire God General. Apparently, his real name is Luo Feng. Let's wait and observe the outcomes of these 620,000 battles, said Thunder Beast God. His opponents are peerless talents from all over the universe. I want to know how far this human being, who has run against the universe operation rule, can go. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the battle world of the world of glory, in the endless desert. Luo Feng was dressed in black armor, and a pair of black battle boots and a pair of wings with scales. Wings were the most convenient way for Luo Feng to fly and dodge. Though I have not become immortal, I have felt the powerful godly body that is 100,000 times stronger than the force of a sector lord, said Luo Feng, looking at a shadow in the distance. A silver-gray snake-shaped monster was gradually rising from the desert. Its triangular-shaped head was high while its gigantic godly body appeared indistinct beneath the desert surface. With a trace of a smile on his face, Luo Feng said, "The first of my 620,000 battles. This video will end here.